Okay, so this is Screenshotter. This is a Unity package that I've made available for taking screenshots in your Unity projects. Now, I created this because I'm often making lots of prototypes and doing YouTube videos, and I have to make thumbnails for those videos. And I got fed up of sort of constantly trying to drag the camera around and fiddle around with that. So I've built a tool that allows you to use a gamepad to not only fly around and sort of position a camera, but also adjust the depth of field on the camera as well to get that perfect shot, and then press sort of one button to take the screenshot and save it somewhere. So this is a quick tutorial on how to get this installed into Unity and how it works. It works in all versions of Unity 2019 and onwards. So basically it works across all three pipeline types. I've made a lot of effort over the past few days to make that work. I had it working in HDRP at first, and then got it set up in the universal render pipeline, and yesterday spent the time getting it working in the built-in one as well. And basically what happens is, as you import it into your project, it will figure out which one you're running and then set itself up that way. So let's take a look. I've got the boat attack demo, which I've just downloaded, and this is running in URP. So let's take a quick look on how we can get that installed. Basically, if you've got Git set up on your system and it runs in your environment variables, you should just be able to do this. You may have to go in and do that, but all you need to do is open up your package manager, head over here, hit the little plus button, and you can download the clone the zip, but it's better to get it straight from the Git because then you'll keep it up to date. And then just copy that URL. So it's just github.com/neon8100 /screenshotter.git. Hit add, and then it takes a minute or two, but Unity will then resolve the package and find it and import project. And yeah, this is the same across all. Now, like I said, you might have to go in and update your environment variables for this to work. The first time I tried this, Unity told me that Git wasn't installed. So just, if you're having trouble getting past this phase, just go and do that. Right, so it's now in. You can see it's here and set up. It requires the input system. That's the one thing. Because of it being controlled by the gamepad, I figured for it to work across all three types, it would be easier if there's just a defined set of controls. So make sure you have the input system installed instead as well. I do think because I've set it as a dependency in the package, it will automatically install if you don't. But just as a word of warning, definitely, maybe just make sure you've got the input system set up, and make sure that in your project settings, in your player settings, that the input system is set as the priority here in the active input handling, because if it isn't, your gamepad just won't pick up and it won't work. So make sure that you've done that first. All right, so once it's in, you know that it's in because you'll get a little debug message to tell you that it's been set to the right render pipeline. Just right click in your scene, choose screenshotter camera, and this then essentially creates a all that it needs to get working. It creates a screenshotter script and a player input script and assigns all the right things. You can choose some settings in here, such as inverting the look and changing the screenshot resolution if you want to change what you're recording at. And then there's also a couple of other things in here, such as the sort of debug font and text color. And that's pretty much it. You just have to hit play on your scene, and then you have full control over it. So you can fly around like this and position your camera wherever you want to go. I'm actually going to turn off that invert for now. And yeah, you can sort of move around your environment just using standard gamepad. And then I've got this little sort of debug message at the top here, which tells you how to do it. Sort of gives an eye on the controls, but yeah, so sort of right stick on the controller lets you look around, and the left stick makes you move. And then you can actually toggle L3 to change your speed in case you want some. So this is specifically depending on the size of your environment, but if you're lining up a shot, you might want more sort of fine-tune adjustments. So you only want to move tiny bits. So clicking your stick in sort of changes the aggressiveness of these controls, and it also adjusts your look. So if you need to sort of finesse up and down, you can do that. So let's sort of line something up here. I think that's pretty good. Oh, you can also press start to to pause the game. So I actually quite like that there's a sort of thing flying around in the background. So I'll keep it paused there. Y turns this on and off. When you take a screenshot, it won't actually save this, so it doesn't really matter. And then, right, so we come out of look mode now. If we tap A, we've then gone into depth of field mode. So when you're in depth of field mode, your right stick adjusts the aperture. So you can move this up and down, and that'll sort of tighten or sort of deepen or shallowen. Deepen or shallow. The right stick will make your focus deeper or shallower. There you go. And then once you've sort of picked an aperture, now I like to get some really nice depth of field on these. So I always set the aperture as low as possible. And then the narrowness can be controlled by moving the left stick left and right. And if you can see in the background there, the higher this number goes, the narrower the actual sort of focal plane is. And so you can create these really interesting sort of macro lens effects, sort of tilt shift effects. So play around with the narrowness there to sort of get that. I'm going to try and get a nice screenshot of the background here with the foreground nice and out of focus. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So when you're happy with your settings, just hit the back button, not the start button, and then you can create a screenshot. And the depth of field does sort of reset itself, so you just have to sort of mess around the aperture again. So yeah, once you're happy with some of the focal points, you can then fly around at a sort of fixed rate and get some really interesting types of shots. So I've got the aperture set out there, and we can sort of focus on different things. And you can see as you fly around, you can really line stuff up and get nice looking sort of angles. And then I quite like that. Oh, let's that fly past there. That looks pretty cool. Oh, I've also forgot to mention the triggers. Oh yes, of course. The so you can use the triggers to zoom in and out on the camera as well. So if you want to, you can move around, and then we can maybe zoom in over here a little bit and frame a shot up. It's just quite fun to fly around and get nice looking shots here. So let's do that, and then let's adjust the focus distance over there a little bit so it's a bit less aggressive. We should increase the narrowness a bit though, maybe, and then yeah, push it out over. See how that looks. It's really a case of just playing around and getting what you think works. I kind of want to get some of the foreground out of focus here, so there we go. That's pretty interesting. Let's let that play out a little bit, and then boop there. Let's take that screenshot. Boom. So yeah, as you can see, it's a really useful sort of tool to be able to line shots up. You can sort of zoom in, pull back. In theory, you could use this if you turn off debug mode. You could also use this just straight as a fly through camera if you wanted to fly through your game. Let's turn motion back on. You can just fly around and get some gameplay, maybe trailer footage. You wanted to record that, right? So it has some extra uses. It's mostly built just to take single screenshots, but there are definitely other ways you can do it, so yeah, hopefully it's useful, and thank you for checking it out.